I'm just a dorky guy, and many years ago, I heard the call to do justice in my heart, and I've basically spent my whole life trying to be obedient to it. I believe that legal services is or can be the most effective way to dramatically reduce poverty in San Francisco, in America, and kind of in service to that belief, I started Open Door Legal 10 years ago, 2 weeks after I got my license to practice law. And we are pioneering the country's first system of universal access to civil legal help here in San Francisco's communities of color. Thanks. You know, honestly, with a lot of crowds, legal aid doesn't sound super sexy. Or another way of saying, people don't really understand the problem. So I'll just start off with a story to kind of get us in the mindset of what are the issues that we are addressing. And it's for one of our clients, Claudia. Claudia was a legal immigrant from Guatemala, came to San Francisco, went to high school in the city, ended up marrying her high school sweetheart. But unfortunately, the relationship turned very abusive. For about 8 years, he would assault her twice a week. The cops were called once, but they were useless. She was hospitalized once, but basically sent back home. And one day, and she had 2 kids with him, and one day her husband called the cops and says, "Oh, my wife has hit me," which wasn't true, but this is a kind of standard method of control. So the cops come, they arrest her, she spends 5 nights in jail, and then she's released and given a restraining order that prevents her from going home. So she couldn't get a change of clothes, she couldn't get any money, she couldn't see her children, and so she ended up homeless in San Francisco. And she had this trial on whether or not she would be allowed back in her home. And she went around the city, went to 5 agencies around the city and asked for help on this trial, and they all turned her away. They all turned her away. They said, "Oh, this isn't the kind of issue we handle," or "we're already at capacity," or something to that effect. And kind of found our street sign just by chance in Bayview. Came in, we represented her. We did a 3-day trial on her behalf. We got her back into the home. We got her husband out of the home. We got her sole custody of the children. We got her child support. We got her a divorce, even though her husband tried to hide all the community assets. And she has remained stably housed since then. She re-entered the workforce. She completed her citizenship. And recently, I just talked to her last month. She bought a home in the Central Valley. And this all cost us, let's say, about $3,000. So why was it so hard to find help? Well, in California, we have about 0.79 legal aid attorneys for every 10,000 eligible people, or about 800 attorneys in the entire state to represent 4 million eligible people. So it's a miracle that even 1/3 of people with legal issues that reach out for help will get any help. 2/3 will get no help at all. And that's why Claudia could not get any help. Things are actually so bad, we've gotten so used to this, that every blue-colored country on this map is rated as having better access to civil justice than the United States. We are the only developed country in the world that does not guarantee legal representation in all legal matters. So it's kind of like saying we're the only developed country in the world that doesn't have a public school system, right? But we're so used to this. We're so used to this idea that people won't be able to get legal help that we don't even sort of recognize it as a problem. And that's why nobody talks about it. And the impacts on poverty are enormous. If you or low-income Americans can't enforce property rights, contract rights, or family rights, it essentially leads to the expropriation of billions of dollars of assets every year from communities of color. So, one study found that actually legal aid was the only intervention associated with a reduction in domestic violence. So why aren't we funding it? right? And this failure results in billions of dollars in lost earnings for women, along with billions of dollars in increased medical costs for women every year. So I started Open Door Legal along with my friend from law school, Virginia. We started in the back of a Salvation Army in the Bayview. And, you know, our first year we had a budget of like $35,000. We paid ourselves minimum wage. You know, and we just started taking cases. And the whole theory was that we were going to kind of create this neighborhood-based model that would saturate the need for legal help among income qualifying people. And it was very hard. You know, just by creating that office and putting a sign on the street, we were pretty much immediately overwhelmed with requests for help from people with good cases like Claudia who just couldn't get help anywhere else. I mean, I would hear stories every day of people being turned away at 5 or more places. And it's kind of astounding, you know, most human services in San Francisco, I feel like you have to like beg people to get the help, right? But in legal aid, there's so much latent demand, you know, you can't even keep up with the number of people that request help. So there was like about a 2-year period where I didn't sleep through the night once. You know, I would wake up covered in sweat 5 times a night, every night. You know, it was hard. So the model is essentially to create the country's first general hospital for legal issues, sort of like a provider of last resort that will ensure everybody can get legal help on, you know, viable legal matters or solvable legal issues. So here's some of the issues that we handle, including probate, bankruptcy, conversion, fraud, domestic violence, evictions, divorce, DACA, U visas, etc. It's extremely diverse. And more than that, we've actually built a case management product to start linking our services with the other legal aid providers in the city. And through that, create a network effect that will guarantee services for everyone in the city from any access point. In Bayview, over the last 10 years, we've actually represented about 5 to 10 families on every block. So this map is of Bayview around our first office, and every dot is a family that we've represented. And, you know, as we went along, we started to notice something very interesting regarding homelessness. So here is a sort of a scatter plot of homeless counts in SF outside of District 10, which is mostly Bayview. And as you can see, since 2011, there's been about a 53% increase in the homeless count in San Francisco outside of D10. But within D10, it's actually dropped by about half. It's the only part of the city that's seen a major decrease in homelessness. And actually, when clients come and request legal help, one of the questions in our screening form is, if this issue is not solved, do you think you will become homeless? So the legal issues that could cause homelessness based off this are very diverse. It's only about a quarter eviction defense, but it includes public benefits, wage theft, property conversion, consumer fraud, domestic violence, and other housing issues. And that's something also people don't seem to realize. So another example of this is one of our clients in Bayview, Miss Pobre. She was an immigrant from the Philippines. She came and bought a house with her husband in Bayview in the 90s. And he unexpectedly died about 6 months later. So she works as a cleaner, and for 25 years, she spent over 60% of her income on the mortgage of this home. And as she got older, she had trouble getting work, and so fell behind on her mortgage, but had saved up about $740,000 in equity in the home, and felt like that that would be enough to keep things going. She also doesn't speak English super well. Unfortunately, the bank foreclosed on the property, didn't tell her about the foreclosure or notice her. She found out about it because they sold the property for $50,000 to an investment group, sent her a check for 1 penny to represent her 25 years of investment in this property, and the investment group then gave her an eviction notice to vacate the premises. So, her neighbor referred her to us. We filed a wrongful foreclosure suit against the bank, and we were able to discover in the lawsuit that the bank even lacked the legal authority to foreclose in the first place. They they had sold the legal authority away and then had foreclosed on the property. So we were able to restore title to her, get all the equity back in her name. Thank you. We got about $60K in damages, which she used to pay off all of her debt. We wrote a trust so she could pass on this now $800,000 asset to her daughter. But the city then tried to triple her taxes by saying a taxable transfer had occurred. So then we spent a year arguing with the city and basically got the taxes reset to what they would have been. And she's still there now. So, we started to think, well, how is our work contributing to the reduction in homelessness in Bayview? And so we launched a major new study. We brought a team of researchers together. And essentially, the study design was to separate out all the incoming service requesters into a treatment or control group based off their residential zip code. Then we queried the city's sort of homelessness database to see what percentage of each group subsequently became homeless. And based off the study, we were able to estimate that in 47% of cases where we represented someone who was at risk of homelessness, we prevented that family from becoming homeless relative to the control group. Thanks. And if you model this out, it's about 800 individuals prevented from becoming homeless, and that alone would fully explain the difference in outcomes between District 10 and the rest of the city. Furthermore, if you cost it out and compare it to a recent RCT in Santa Clara County, where they gave $2,000 cash to people who are at risk, you'd find that this intervention, this method of reducing homelessness, was about 7 times as cost efficient as the RCT. Likely more cost efficient than any other method of reducing homelessness. So so some case studies from the paper from ODL's clients. So this is from a housing client. If not for ODL, I'm sure these folks, meaning their landlord, would have put me and my things onto the street. ODL calmed the storm. They actually did put their stuff on the street, and we got them back into the unit. The landlord knew I had representation and couldn't be intimidated. The property has been so damaged by crime and carelessness. ODL is so needed. Black people here can't afford lawyers, psychiatrists, or support in general. You've helped people here who need it most, who need access to legal assistance. Another client, ODL made all the difference. There's absolutely no question that we would have ended up homeless and on the streets without their help. We felt extremely powerless, but ODL gave us back our voice and more. They gave us a community. ODL became our haven. So in addition to preventing homelessness, the average client in the study got a cash award of about $1,700 and canceled about $26,000 worth of debt. And again, this is all for an average cost of about $3,000 for each client. Our total outcomes of all time include over $50 million in direct assets won for low-income communities of color, and about 800 individuals prevented from becoming homeless. So, as I mentioned, we started with a $35,000 a year budget. We're at about $5.6 million now. And my vision is to finish scaling this model citywide, make San Francisco the first city in the country with universal access to justice. And I think basically for another $4 million a year, we could reduce homelessness in the city 20 to 40%. I should mention the study will be published December 15th and on SSRN, and we're going to be seeking academic publication of it. So it's very exciting. Because, you know, I envision a world where the law really belongs to all of us. And I believe that once we give everyone access to justice, homelessness and poverty will be dramatically reduced. So thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Stay up here, please. Let's see, the next session starts at noon. So we have a little bit of time for Q&A. When he says legal aid isn't sexy, I'm like, I disagree. The first time I heard him talk, I'm like, yes, I'm the stupidest guy in the room. He knows far much more about this than I do. He's on the cutting edge of innovating. We've got to do this. I'm actually dumbfounded that this is not taken off yet, but I have a solution to it. I actually have a perspective on it. This is an opportunity. This is like this invention that we've understood. Okay, $4 million a year is basically what you need to cover the rest of the city, right?
Additional.
Additional $4 million. What's your current budget?
Around 6. Yeah.
Okay.
10 total.
What is your projection, your estimate, if you follow that graph? How much money would you save the city if you under this system?
Well, I mean, a ton of money, but it's not coming from the same buckets, right? So that makes it a little difficult. But, you know, I think the city, it costs about $50,000 a year to operate one shelter bed, for example. So just using $3,000 to prevent a family from becoming homeless will save shelter costs. It will save police services. It'll save medical services, you know, and yeah, it'll just be way, way cheaper.
There you go. I mean, it's a business model, and you're not talking 10x, you're talking beyond 10x. You're talking 40x that you can save society that's going to create abundance. That was my question. Any other questions? Microphone.
With your current budget, how many attorneys are on staff?
We have a staff of about 50 and 4 offices now around the city. About half the staff are attorneys, and we also have paralegals, legal secretaries, and support staff.
All right. Another question?
Are you making these presentations at the law schools in the area, such as Hastings and Bolt, and in other places, because young law students are, some are idealistic, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, we talk to law students all the time, and I think we have a pretty good recruiting pipeline for new attorneys. Really, the bottleneck is not talent as much as it is funding.
There you go. Some brilliant people in here. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, every nonprofit needs money, but I have not, okay, I'll just say this. I have not met any nonprofit, and I know some amazing ones that have such a compelling financial case as to why you give them money and they save money. Now, I have some very, very close. It's a close race, okay? And I'll introduce you to the others, and you're going to hear from them. But I'll tell you, on the record, he's the front runner, like the compelling case of the biggest bang for your buck.
Adrian.
Hey, John.
Hey, brother, big fan, and it's been so awesome to be your friend for several years. I'm curious most about how to leverage the most impact from your 50 staff in order to make sure in like a ethical and responsible way they're empowered with tools. So if there's a wish list that you had for technological tools or legal tools or partnerships beyond just finances that you would want to see your team receive, do you know what some of those wish list items are for Christmas?
Well, as I mentioned, we've built our own case management product, which we're starting to distribute, and that's basically a productivity tool. One of the things we're working on in the new year is integrating AI into it so that it kind of improves productivity for staff, like case management and discovery and some other things. So that's very exciting.
There you go. See, he's brilliant. I was going to say, you know, it'd be wonderful. I understand that AI overperforms in legal issues because it's very precise. So he's ahead of me. They're going to be incorporating AI. So, I mean, my dream is that this community will come around this and rally this. I mean, we'll come around all of them, but rally this is one of our issues. And yes, we believe in justice, but we also believe in financial responsibility. And we can just completely reframe the dialogue out there. Every time you see a problem in America, I always see an underlying problem. The underlying problem is we love to fight. And we're really good about it. If there's anything American, it's we're fighting, we're disagreeing, we're pointing the finger, and it complicates everything. And if we can come together and completely change the dialogue, a dialogue that's not been out there, what opportunity? All right, another question.
Real quick, we just saw some presentations about leveraging with the medical, right? Mm-hmm. So charging. Philosophically, does that not work with your funding model? Well, not your funding, your business model.
Yeah, so one issue is IRS Treasury regulations actually prohibit legal aid nonprofits from charging. So if you're a medical provider or a school, actually, you can generate earned revenue and remain a nonprofit, but not if you're a legal aid provider.
I do understand that businesses and wealthy people are allowed to be philanthropists and give. So the way that could work is a very successful law firm could adopt them, and then they just give philanthropically, give away like they're supporting other things, but could really adopt them. And the way I would see this as happening is then you could start publicizing and talk about it. Of course, we wouldn't want you to talk about it unless you're actually doing it and your heart's there behind it. And then you could say, you know, like, listen, join our law firm. Not only do we kick butt and we're awesome, but we also care about the community, and this is how we give back. Okay, that seems like a pretty easy legal thing that we could solve that issue. So there you go. One of my, this is why we're doing this whole thing. So my vision and my dream is all of us are going to come together and we're going to start talking like this, and we're going to start working together, and the AI people are going to come alongside and help him. To be honest, though, he doesn't need any new ideas. He's way ahead of us on all the ideas. He needs $4 million, you know? So, like, we support him, okay? My wife and I, we support him, and we're proud to be partners. And, you know, if you guys give us more money, we'll support him even more. Like, lead, like Brett said, you know, you have all these big ideas. Generosity goes a long ways. And I'll tell you, if people of faith and people of ideals, like, we don't have to go from 3% or 0.2% to 10%. You go to 3 to 5 and we'll start getting people's attention, and they'll start following us when we lead by example. So one of the reasons we're doing this whole event, we're capturing this all on video. We're going to be doing very exciting stuff with this because I believe Adrian is one of the most sexiest philanthropists, communicators out there. I just think it's amazing. So, and I think his slides are like, I'm taking notes. These are excellent slides. Steve Jobs is like, man, I can learn from him. And we're capturing it all. We have a professional video crew, and maybe if you have time, you can go to the interview channel and that you can share even more. What we're doing with all these is we are streaming these right now. And if you go to my LinkedIn channel, you'll see the link to the YouTube where it's streaming and we're talking about it. We're also going to be cutting these up into nice, beautiful presentations with a good title on there and those beautiful pictures as the screenshots to try to implement best practices. We're going to be sharing them all. They're going to be all on a YouTube playlist. I will soon have the QR code up there for you guys to start sharing that YouTube playlist. We're going to then cut that all down into bite-sized pieces, this sound bites, these little nuggets that he's dropped. And I'm going to share them on my social media. I'm going to give them away to all of you and leverage this. This is your event. Leverage this. Say, I was here. This is my new friend. Introduce him. Make him look good and make yourself look good in the process. We want to start a movement. We're also doing some very innovative stuff, which, okay, we have time for one more question. Then I'll share about the other innovative stuff. One more concise question. Yes.
Hi, Adrian. This is the third time I heard you present. Every time I'm just blown away.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's true. I love to pray for people. I'm wondering, how is your sleep, and how can we be praying for you personally and your beautiful wife, and also your organization?
Yeah, so the sleeplessness that only lasted 2 years, so no big deal. I'm happy to report I am sleeping through the night. Yes, haven't had a night terror in a few months actually, so that's great. Yay. Yeah, no, the org, I mean, we have a lot more infrastructure, we have a lot more staff, funding's much more stable now, so I'm really grateful for that, and I'm grateful for all of our supporters and the community that's come around our work. So yeah, I'm just kind of excited to finish proving that this can work at the citywide level. Yeah, so whenever that happens, I'm ready for it.
All right, let's give him a big hand clap. Thank you so much for presenting. Adrian's going to be around for the rest of the day, so grab time with him and, see how you can help.